Travel is back in full force, and the news is filled with travel woes. The world is ready to travel again, but I'm not sure that travel is ready for the world. So, as an EA, you're probably booking business travel for your executive. So, this week, our top 10 list is to offer the top 10 travel tips for planning travel for your executive. It isn't about your travel, but I'm confident that these tips will help you too. Now, as you can imagine, everyone suggested that we build in a lot of buffer time and a ton of patience as we travel this year, which I didn't even count as one of our top 10 tips. If you or your executive are impatient travelers, this may not be a good time for travel. We need infinite amounts of patience and flexibility when things don't go according to plan. Now, our first tip comes from Josh Dutton DeBeer from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Josh reminds us that in these difficult times, we need to plan, and then plan. He recommends that we always look ahead for alternate flights in case there's a cancellation and in case we need to change quickly. Also, know what's where for your executive. Find the hotel business center and nearby stores in case you need backup supplies or clothes. Nancy Knight from Albany, New York recommends using FlightAware to track the flights. Then she will text the gate information for the connections to her executive. Now, I use Tripcase on my mobile phone when I travel, and it sends me alerts and gate information as well. You know your executive best. If text messages work better than an app, then send text messages, especially if they turn notifications off from the app, they won't get the updates. I will also say that FlightAware seems to know information much faster than the airline does. So even if you're in the airport and you can see the airline board, have FlightAware on the phone or give them the text for them. Our third tip comes from Erica Russell from Langford, BC. Erica reminds us that even though our companies need to save money on travel, as the prices currently are sky high, do not book the very cheapest seats. Instead, book an adjustable fare. We know that changes are normal, especially in these turbulent times, and the difference in seat costs can routinely be recovered from the changes from the savings in change fees. Cheryl Quinn from Moline, Illinois says to ensure that passports are current with a 6-month cushion before expiration date. The expiry date doesn't actually mean that the passport is good till that day. It actually means you have to renew it 6 months before the day, which is weird, but make sure there's at least a 6-month cushion or you may not be allowed in many countries. Jean Coco from Boston, Massachusetts reminds us to be knowledgeable about the COVID protocols in each country. Please don't assume that they are the same as your country and ensure that your executive has all the forms, all the vaccinations, and masks as may be needed. Number 6 is from Christopher Musso from Toronto, Ontario. Christopher recommends that your executive travel with carry-on only. The carry-on allowance is quite substantial, and I rarely need to check luggage personally, and I'm often gone for a week at a time. So if oversized luggage is required, Colleen Francis from Ottawa, Ontario recommends that you use Apple tags or tiles to track your luggage. We know there was quite a mess in many of the airports this summer with thousands of pieces of luggage being stranded and some airlines not even boarding luggage at all. You can also ship luggage ahead of the trip. Stephanie Han from Chicago, Illinois brings us number 8. There are still issues with rental cars in many cities, so Stephanie recommends that you hire a professional and respected car service well in advance of the trip. Many of the best ones have an app that both you and your executive can use, like FlightAware for car services, and you can communicate with the driver during the day. No delays, no waiting, and no security issues. A tip many of you may find surprising comes from Lori Joe Jaycox from Butler, New Jersey. Since fire department bucket trucks can't go higher than the 7th floor in an evacuation scenario, she recommends that you do not book a room above the 7th floor from your executive. They may not get the view, but they've got the safety. And number 10 comes from Amber Garrett from Denver, Colorado. Amber recommends that you take a copy of your executive's passport immunization records, and anything that's in their wallet, driver's license, potentially credit card. It may be easier to report stolen or lost items. You have the credit card information on hand versus trying to remember what the cards are and what the number to call for stop payment and reissues is. And I'll take it a step further and recommend that you scan and download these into your executive's mobile phone as well. You can put them into the Apple Wallet for handy retrieval or save them as a photo or a document. This came in handy for me once as I was renting a car and could not find my driver's license. I had it on my mobile phone. It saved the day. Otherwise, it was going to be an extremely expensive taxi ride. Now, it was hard to narrow the list down to 10 as we had many good tips that I didn't put in the top 10. Be sure to continue to build on the list by putting your tips in the comments section below, and safe travels.